The sky over Earth turned red. At first, people thought it was just a strange light. Then the news showed live images, thousands of alien ships, black and sharp, coming down from the sky like knives. They moved fast, too fast. In just minutes, the first cities were gone. Buildings fell, fires spread, screams filled the air. There was no message, no warning, no chance to talk. The enemy didn't speak. They just attacked. Military jets tried to stop them. Tanks rolled through the streets. Missiles were launched. Nothing worked. The alien ships had shields that stopped every weapon. The aliens moved like machines, cold, silent, perfect. People ran. Some hid underground. Others called their families, crying. Everyone thought it was the end of the world. And maybe it was. On the moon, in a small human outpost named Luna 7, a few soldiers and scientists watched it all happen. The base was not important, just a small station with limited weapons. But it had eyes. It could see Earth, it could watch the skies, and most of all, it could listen. Inside the command room, alarms screamed. A young tech officer shouted, "They're everywhere. At least 2,000 ships over Earth. No response to our signals." Captain Elara Stone stood in the center of the room, calm but focused. She was tall, with short black hair and sharp eyes. Her hands were behind her back. She watched the screen as city after city vanished under red fire. "The shields?" she asked. "No way to break them," another officer said. "Not with what we have." "Then we find another way." The aliens were called the Drexar. Old files from deep space probes mentioned them. Only a few words. Drexar destroyed Colony 11B. No survivors. No known weakness. Every time they appeared, the result was the same. Fire, death, silence. Now, they had come to Earth. Down below, the leaders of Earth panicked. Video calls showed shouting, crying, and fear. The President of North America said, "We must find peace. We must send a signal of surrender." A leader from Europa said, "We must evacuate what we can. Earth is lost." Most agreed. But on the moon, Captain Stone did not. She turned off the screen and faced her team. "If we surrender now," she said, her voice clear, "we lose everything. They won't stop. They won't listen. They don't want peace. They want control. And if we give up, the last light of humanity dies." A young soldier asked, "But what can we do? We're just a moon base." Stone nodded. "Yes, we are small, but we're still standing. Earth isn't completely gone. Not yet, and if we fight, even from here, we give the people down there a chance. A reason to resist." Another officer, older and tired, looked at her. "You really think we can stop them?" She didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked to the window and looked at the blue planet hanging in space. Fires burned across the surface. The planet looked like it was bleeding. Finally, she said, "No, not yet. But maybe, just maybe, we can slow them. Maybe we can find a way to break them. We just need time. We need to believe in ourselves again." The room went quiet. Captain Stone turned back to her team. "Send this message," she said, "to all surviving stations, ships, bases, anywhere humans still live. Send it on every channel." The tech nodded, ready to record. Stone stood straight, looked into the camera, and spoke. "This is Captain Elara Stone of Luna 7. The enemy has come. They are strong. They are fast. They are deadly. But we are still here. We are still alive. We do not bow. We do not run. We are humanity. And we are not done yet." The message was sent. All across the stars, scattered ships and small stations picked it up. On Mars, a group of miners watched it with tears in their eyes. On a deep space cargo ship, old soldiers stood up and saluted. On Earth, in broken cities, people listened. And for the first time in hours, they felt something powerful. Hope. The Drexar were still attacking, but something had changed. One captain had said no. One voice had lit a spark. And sparks can start fires. Captain Elara Stone's message spread across space like a fire in dry grass. It was short, simple, and full of power. We do not bow. We do not run. For the first time, people stopped crying. Some picked up weapons. Others started sending messages back. A broken fleet near Mars turned its engines on. A military lab on Ganymede activated defense systems that had never been used before. A few surviving ships above Earth tried to regroup. Everyone thought the same thing. Maybe it's not over yet. On Luna 7, Captain Stone worked fast. She knew the Drexar wouldn't stop. The aliens didn't care about surrender or peace. They didn't want anything but control and silence. We need to make a stand, she told her team. If we run again, we'll keep running until there's nothing left. But where? Asked Commander Hall, her second in command. Earth is falling. The colonies are small. We don't have a strong position. Stone looked at the star map. One place stood out. Titan, Saturn's largest moon. It had an old military outpost called Fort Icewall, cold, hidden, and forgotten. Titan, she said. That's where we draw the line. Getting there wasn't easy. The Drexar were everywhere. Their ships hunted survivors. Any ship that left Luna 7 had to move fast and stay quiet. Captain Stone sent secret messages to every friendly base. If you can hear this, she said, come to Titan. Bring fuel, weapons, tech, people, anything. This is our last stand. Some didn't reply. Some said it was suicide. But a few said yes. Over the next few days, small groups arrived at Titan. A damaged cargo ship from Europa carrying armor plates. 2 science vessels from the asteroid belt bringing energy shields. A group of retired soldiers from Mars, old but still willing to fight. Fort Icewall came to life again. Lights turned on. Engines hummed. Robots cleaned dust off the walls. Inside, humans began building something new. A trap. A fortress. A message to the Drexar. The mood was tense. People were tired, scared, and quiet. But Stone didn't let the fear grow. Every day, she walked the halls. She spoke to the workers, the scientists, the engineers, the cooks. We are still here, she reminded them. And as long as we are, we will fight. Soon, they had working defenses. Gravity mines hidden under the ice. Plasma turrets on the mountain tops. Drones set to patrol in silence. They didn't have much, but they used every part, every wire, every tool they had. Humanity was not rich in weapons, but they were rich in something else. Creativity and desperation. And desperate people build dangerous things. Then came the news. The Drexar had found them. A scout ship, fast and dark, flew past Titan and vanished. They'll be back, Commander Hall said. Stone nodded. Let them come. A few hours later, the enemy returned. 10 Drexar ships dropped out of light speed above Titan. They circled like sharks. They expected an easy kill. But humanity was ready. The first ship flew low to scan the base and exploded. A hidden gravity mine had pulled it straight into a mountain. The second was hit by 3 plasma beams, melting its shields in seconds. The rest attacked. The sky above Titan burned red and white. The ground shook. Ice cracked under fire. But the human base held strong. Drones flew fast, cutting through enemy armor. Soldiers fired railguns from deep bunkers. Explosions lit the black sky. For every Drexar ship destroyed, humanity lost something too. A tower fell. A gun went silent. But they never gave up. After 2 hours of battle, only 3 enemy ships were left. They didn't flee. They just floated above Titan, waiting. Then, just like that, they left. The silence after the fight was louder than the battle itself. Inside Fort Icewall, no one spoke. People counted their dead, repaired their wounds, refilled their weapons. Captain Stone stood in the command center, blood on her uniform, her voice low. "They came expecting victory," she said. "They left knowing pain." On the Drexar warship far from Titan, a report was sent to the hive mind. It said one thing: resistance found, unacceptable, retaliation required. But on Titan, a new feeling was growing. Not just survival, not just hope, something deeper. Defiance. Fort Icewall was still standing. The battle was over, but the war was not. The Drexar had left, for now, but everyone knew they would return with more ships, more weapons, more death. Inside the base, repairs began. Crews fixed broken turrets. Engineers rewired power lines. Soldiers helped clear rubble. Every hand was busy, every second was used. But while others rebuilt, one man searched for answers. His name was Dr. Milo Chen. He wasn't a soldier, he wasn't a leader, but he had a sharp mind and a question no one else was asking. What do the Drexar want? Dr. Chen had been a xenotech researcher before the war. He studied alien languages, signals, and tech. Now he worked deep below the base, inside a cold lab, surrounded by wires, screens, and pieces of broken Drexar drones from the last battle. He pulled one of the damaged Drexar processors from a wrecked scout. Its surface was black metal with strange glowing veins. No writing, no controls. But when he connected it to his lab system, it pulsed. "Still active," he whispered. Dr. Chen studied it for hours. He watched patterns in the energy, strange shapes, repeating signals, almost like a heartbeat. "This isn't just a machine," he said. "It's alive." The next day, he brought the data to Captain Stone. "In every Drexar drone we've recovered, I see the same thing," he explained. "The same pulse, the same signal. They're not acting alone. They're not using normal eye." Stone raised an eyebrow. "Then what are they?" Chen took a breath. "They're controlled. All of them. Every ship. Every drone. Every soldier. It's a single mind. A hive mind. If we find the core, we might stop all of them." The command room fell silent. Commander Hall leaned forward. "Are you saying if we hit the right target, we could shut down their whole army?" "Yes," Chen said. "But the core isn't here. It's not in the ships. The signal comes from far away, deep space, maybe even outside our system." Captain Stone stood slowly, her eyes locked on the star map. "Then we go find it." It was a crazy idea. Titan was barely surviving. The Drexar could return at any moment. But Stone knew this might be their only chance. "We can't beat them ship to ship," she told her officers. "But if we cut off the brain, the body dies." Stone called for volunteers. She needed a small team. Fast, smart, brave. A group that could slip behind enemy lines, find the source of the signal, and destroy it. Many stepped forward. From them, she chose Dr. Chen for his mind, Lieutenant Vega, a stealth pilot with a sharp aim, Corporal Reyes, a silent soldier with a dark past and steady hands, Sergeant Kai, strong, loyal, and good in close combat, and Ilara Stone herself. She would not send others to risk their lives without going to. They had no Drexar ship to sneak in, so they built one. From wreckage, old parts, and Drexar scrap, engineers at Fort Icewall made something new, a hybrid ship, fast, small, silent, human mind, alien shell. They called it Shadow Knife. Before they launched, Stone gave one last speech. "This team is not running. We are not escaping. We are hunting. We go into the heart of the storm, not to hide, but to kill it." Shadow Knife left Titan in silence, flying under the radar. The stars around them were cold and dark. Dr. Chen tracked the Drexer signal. Every hour it grew stronger, closer. They passed ruined colonies, burned space stations, broken ships floating like ghosts. Every world they touched, Chen whispered, they left in ashes. Finally, they found something. Far outside the solar system, beyond any human reach, they saw it, a massive black structure in deep space, bigger than anything humanity had ever built. It was shaped like a sphere, with glowing red veins. Ships moved around it like bees around a hive. That's it, Chen said. The source. The hive mind lives inside. Inside Shadow Knife, tension rose. Too many enemy ships, Vega said. We can't fight our way in. We won't, Stone replied. We sneak in. We find the core. We plant a bomb. Then we leave nothing behind. Corporal Reyes checked his rifle. And if we get caught? Stone looked at them all and said quietly, then we make sure it wasn't for nothing. They floated toward the Drexar hive, silent and hidden. None of them knew what waited inside, but they all knew one thing. If they failed, humanity would fall. The Shadow Knife drifted through deep space, its black hull blending into the darkness. Around it, Drexar ships moved like shadows, scanning, searching, but the hybrid ship, half human, half alien, was invisible to them. Inside, the human team prepared for the most dangerous mission of their lives. Captain Ilara Stone stood at the front of the ship, staring at the huge black sphere ahead. The Drexar hive. It pulsed slowly like a living heart, glowing with red light. That thing, Vega whispered, it's not a base. It's a monster. Dr. Chen checked his scanner. This is it. The core signal comes from inside, deep inside. How deep? Reyes asked, loading his rifle. Very, Chen said. And it's guarded. The Drexar know this place is important. If we're caught, we die. Fast. They entered through a dead ship floating near the hive. It was a Drexar battleship, damaged, full of holes, drifting in silence. Using its wreckage as cover, Vega guided Shadow Knife into a maintenance tunnel that led toward the hive's outer shell. As they slipped inside, the human lights turned off. Only the red Drexar glow lit their way. They had to go in on foot now. Each team member wore a black suit with light armor. They carried silent weapons, EMP charges, and one high-power fusion bomb, their final gift to the Drexar. Captain Stone led the way. Behind her, Reyes with the rifle, Kai carrying the bomb, Chen with his scanner, and Vega watching their rear. They walked through narrow halls of alien metal, covered in strange moving lines. The walls were alive, reacting to their presence. Don't touch anything, Stone warned. They passed empty chambers, giant dark rooms filled with machines they didn't understand. Some looked like labs. Others looked like prisons. One chamber held hundreds of dead aliens, not humans, but other species the Drexar had killed. Chen stared at the scene. They've done this before. We're not the first. No, Stone said, but we'll be the last. Soon, the hive felt them. Lights began to change. The red glow became sharp, bright. Strange sounds echoed through the halls. They know something's wrong, Vega said. We move faster, Stone ordered. Suddenly, a Drexar drone flew around the corner. It was fast, silver, and deadly, but Reyes was faster. Zizrak. He fired one silent pulse shot. The drone dropped. But now they were exposed. Alarms started. Red lights flashed. The hive screamed. They're coming, Kai said. Then we run, Stone said. Chen, lead us to the core. The team sprinted through the hive. Drexar machines poured from every wall. Drones, walkers, flying blades. The humans shot, dodged, fought. Kai used a shock mine to slow the enemy. Reyes threw smoke bombs that confused their sensors. Vega covered the back, hitting targets with perfect aim. But it was Chen who kept them moving, watching the scanner. leading them down paths the Drexar didn't expect. Finally, they reached it, a giant black chamber. In the center, a floating sphere, glowing red and white, pulsing like a brain. "This is the hive core," Chen said. "It controls everything. All of it." Stone turned to Kai. "The bomb." Kai dropped to one knee, opened the heavy case, and began setting the fusion core. 10 minutes, he said. "Once it starts, we can't stop it." Suddenly, the walls moved. A hole opened, and a Drexar warrior stepped out. It was massive, twice as tall as a man, with metal skin and red eyes. It wasn't like the drones. This one was smart, alive. It spoke, not in words, but in thought. "You are dust. We are order. You will die." The voice filled their heads like fire. But Captain Stone didn't back down. She raised her rifle. "You first." The fight was brutal. The Drexar warrior moved like lightning. It slammed Rice into a wall, knocked Shen to the ground, and slashed at Vega with sharp claws. But humanity fought back. Riss stood up, bleeding, and fired into its eyes. Kai tackled it with a shock baton. Stone drove her blade into its chest. It screamed. Then Vega fired one last shot, straight through its head. The Drexar warrior fell, dead. "Bombs ready," Kai shouted. "We have 4 minutes." The team ran. Behind them, the hive began to fall apart. Lights shattered. The floor cracked. The red core screamed like a dying beast. As they ran through the halls, more Drexar came, but the hive was breaking down. Doors stopped working. Lights went dark. Drones crashed into walls. Shadow Knife waited at the exit, still hidden. They jumped in, sealed the doors, and launched. From space, they watched it happen. The Drexar hive exploded in a massive white blast. The shockwaves spread across the stars. Every Drexar ship nearby stopped moving. Some crashed. Some drifted. Others simply shut down. The hive mind was dead. Inside Shadow Knife, no one spoke for a long time. Then Chen whispered, "We did it." Stone nodded, eyes still on the fading light. "No," she said, "humanity did it." But deep in space, far from where anyone could see, something else had started to move. The hive was dead. But was it the only one? The shockwave of the Drexar hive's explosion echoed through the void. For a moment, there was silence. The stars around Titan, around Earth, around every surviving human world, seemed to shine a little brighter. Humanity had won. But Captain Elara Stone couldn't shake the feeling that it wasn't over. The Drexar hive had been destroyed, but the Drexar weren't the only threat in the galaxy, and no victory ever came without cost. As the crew of Shadow Knife made their way back to Titan, Stone turned to her team. "We've beaten the Drexar hive," she said, "but I have a bad feeling. What if this was just the beginning? What if they were only a small part of something bigger?" Commander Hall stepped forward. "You mean like an army?" "Not an army," Stone said, shaking her head. "A network. A larger group of beings. More advanced. More dangerous." As they entered Titan's atmosphere, Stone's concerns deepened. News from the other colonies was not good. Mars, Europa, even distant outposts in the asteroid belt were reporting strange things. Alien ships appeared where they shouldn't be. Small attacks were taking place, far too quickly for the scattered defenses to handle. Then, the unthinkable happened. A new signal, a disturbance, emerged from deep space, far beyond human reach. A signal too large to ignore. Dr. Chen stared at the scanner, his face pale. "It's not the Drexar. It's something else, a different kind of technology. And it's moving toward us." The humans of Earth and Titan were not the only ones to hear the signal. It was also received by the Xerath, a race of ancient beings who had watched over the galaxy for thousands of years. They had stayed hidden, waiting for the right moment to emerge. The signal was a call, a signal from a higher intelligence, one that was not bound by the rules of time or space. And it was calling them. On Titan, the crew scrambled to prepare for whatever was coming. Weapons were upgraded. Defense shields were reinforced. But they all knew the truth. They weren't ready for this new enemy. They couldn't even understand it yet. "I thought the Drexar were the worst," Vega said, eyes wide. "But this is something else. We don't know what this enemy is," Stone said, staring out the window at the distant stars. "But I do know one thing. If we wait, if we don't act now, we won't get another chance." The signal kept growing louder. Soon, it was impossible to ignore. It seemed to come from everywhere at once, all directions, filling the air with its terrifying energy. Captain Stone called for a council of war. Leaders from every remaining human colony arrived on Titan. Representatives from Mars, Europa, the asteroid belt, all gathered in the war room, face to face. The room fell silent as the leader of the Mars colony stood up, his face grave. "We've all heard it. The signal. It's not from the Drexar. It's something older, stronger. We need to prepare for war." Stone nodded. "But we don't know what we're fighting. How do we prepare for an enemy we don't understand?" The leader from Europa stood. "We can't fight them head on. Not yet. We need time to understand their tech, their weakness, find their weakness. Time is the one thing we don't have." Stone said, "The signal's already here. They're already coming." And she was right. The moment the signal reached full strength, the Exaroth appeared. They were massive, towering beings, made of black, shimmering metal. Their eyes glowed bright green, and their ships seemed to fold space itself as they arrived in the sky over Earth. No one knew how to stop them. They were ancient, far older than humanity, older than even the Drexar. They had lived through wars that spanned galaxies, seen empires rise and fall, and now they had turned their attention to Earth. On the surface of Earth, panic spread. People feared the Exaroth more than they ever feared the Drexar. These were beings that didn't care about conquest. They cared only about control. The Exaroth ships hovered above cities, sending waves of energy through the air. Everything they touched became still, motionless, frozen in time. Electricity went dark. Machines stopped working. No one knew what they wanted, but one thing was certain. They weren't here for peace. The human colonies quickly realized there was no time to wait for a new weapon or strategy. They couldn't even fight back against the Exaroth's power. Their only hope was to gather the scattered remnants of humanity and prepare for what came next. Stone ordered the construction of the Last Hope fleet, a fleet of ships, big and small, from every corner of human space. It would be the last line of defense. But even as they began to prepare, something strange happened. Dr. Chen, working with his scanners, discovered a second signal. This one was hidden beneath the waves of the first. It was faint, but it had a familiar pulse. "Is it the Drexar?" Stone asked. "No," Chen said. "It's human." "But from where? From when?" The second signal had come from Earth, but from hundreds of years ago. It wasn't a modern message. It was a warning, a cry for help sent from a time far before the current war. And it was still there, buried in the ruins of old human history. Stone stood in silence, looking at the star map. The Exaroth were coming. But the signal from Earth was something else, something connected to humanity's past. The war was about to get much bigger. The Exaroth had arrived. Their massive ships hovered over Earth, towering above the cities. Everything they touched, every place they visited, was frozen in time. The world seemed to hold its breath. The last hope of humanity lay in the Last Hope fleet, a ragtag collection of human ships, crude, patched-together vessels from every corner of space. Some were fast and small, others slow and heavily armed, but all were prepared to fight, even if the odds were impossible. Captain Elara Stone stood in the command room of Titan Station. The stars outside glimmered, but her heart felt heavy. The Exaroth were powerful, and their technology was beyond anything humanity had seen. They were ancient, and their presence filled the sky like a dark shadow. But Stone wasn't ready to give up. Not yet. "We need to move fast," Stone said, looking over the battle map. "The Xeroth are too strong to fight directly, but we have to buy time. We can't let them control the planet. We've got one chance to stop them." She turned to Dr. Milo Chen, who was analyzing the signal they had discovered. An old message buried in the ruins of Earth, sent long before the Drexer arrived. It was faint, almost lost, but it was clear enough. "What do you think it means?" Stone asked. Chen looked up from his screen, his face pale. "It's a message from the past. From humanity's ancestors, or someone who came before. It talks about a weapon, a powerful device hidden deep in the Earth. The message is old, but it seems to say this weapon can stop the Xeroth." "A weapon?" Stone asked, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "Where is it?" Chen shook his head. "That's the problem. The message was sent from somewhere deep below the surface, far beneath the ruins of ancient cities, and the signal was cut off before it could give us any more details." "We don't have much time," Stone said, turning to her officers. "We have to find this weapon. Now." The team gathered quickly. They couldn't afford to waste another minute. Stone, Chen, and a small team of soldiers prepared for a dangerous mission to Earth's surface. They would have to go deep underground, into ancient cities and lost ruins, where no one had been in centuries. The atmosphere outside was cold and dark. The planet was under siege, but there was still a chance. Stone's eyes were hard with determination. She wouldn't let humanity fall. Not after everything they'd been through. "Vega," Stone said to her pilot, "stay in orbit. If anything goes wrong, you get the team out of there. No matter what." "Understood," Vega said, his voice calm. "Reyes, Kai with me. We move fast. We find this weapon. We get out." The team descended to Earth's surface in a small shuttle. As they flew through the dark clouds, they could see the Xeroth ships blocking out the sky. They were everywhere, large, looming, intimidating. The surface below was a wasteland. Ancient cities, now just broken ruins, stretched for miles. Stone and her team landed in the heart of the old city, once a thriving metropolis, now a ghost town. No sign of life, just rubble and the feeling of something forgotten. "We have no idea what we're looking for," Ray said, scanning the area. "It could be buried anywhere." "We have to start looking," Stone said, her eyes scanning the ruined landscape. "Stay focused. Keep your weapons ready. The Xeroth might have left this place, but they could be watching." Dr. Chen opened a datapad. "I've tracked the signal. It's coming from beneath this city, deep underground." The team made their way toward an old subway station. The entrance was blocked with debris, but Stone's team cleared it quickly. They descended into the tunnels, the air growing colder with every step. The walls were lined with old technology, broken machines, and rusted doors. There were strange markings on the walls, something that looked like an ancient warning. "This doesn't feel right," Kai muttered. "We don't have time to question it," Stone said. "We move." They reached an old underground vault. The door was sealed with a heavy metal lock, but Chen's equipment quickly identified the old encryption codes. It was a secure vault, and what lay inside could be their last hope. The door groaned open. Inside, they found something unexpected. It wasn't a weapon, not like they had imagined. It was a cryogenic chamber, a long sealed container with something inside. The team gathered around it as Chen carefully examined the chamber. "It's a person," he said. "A human, preserved from the past." Stone moved forward. "Who is it?" Chen scanned the data. This is Commander Evelyn Hawke. She was part of an ancient Earth defense program, one of the first to encounter the Xeroth." Stone's eyes widened. She knew the Xeroth. She knew them. She fought them, Chen said. And she was the one who sent the signal. The weapon she spoke of wasn't a machine. It was her. She was the key. The team stared at the cryogenic chamber. This woman, preserved from a time long before them, held the answers they needed to defeat the Xerath. Stone turned to her team. "Get her out of there. We don't have much time." As they worked to revive Commander Hawk, they heard something outside. A soft hum, then the sound of footsteps. The Xerath were coming. They knew they had found something important. Stone's heart raced. She turned to her team. "We have to get out of here. Now." With Commander Hawk revived and her memories slowly returning, the team made a run for the surface, fighting their way through the ruined tunnels. The Xerath were closing in, but Hawk's knowledge of ancient Earth defense strategies was their last hope. As they finally reached the shuttle, a voice echoed from the shadows. "You cannot run. You cannot hide." The Xerath had found them. The shuttle doors slammed shut with a loud clang as Captain Elara Stone and her team barely managed to escape the tunnels beneath Earth's surface. The Xerath were close, too close. Stone could hear their eerie hum, like a low growl, from just outside the ship. "We have to move, now," Stone shouted, her heart racing. Vega, still in orbit, was ready. The shuttle's engines roared to life as it shot upward, leaving the ruins of Earth behind. But even as they left the atmosphere, Stone knew that the battle was far from over. The Xerath were already mobilizing, their ships lining the sky like a dark army. Commander Evelyn Hawk, the revived warrior from Earth's past, sat quietly in the back of the shuttle. Her eyes were wide with confusion, but also with a sense of urgency. She remembered the Xerath, their methods, their strength. She had fought them before.